Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going back to art class from elementary school. Coming up next. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, we are working on the 52 Chevy. Yep, that is still here somewhere. It's still down in the shop and it's currently really cold outside. So I'm not gonna go get it quite yet. But while we are waiting for it to warm up, why don't you hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, like the video, leave a comment. What do you think of this project so far? We're moving slow, but we're going out of my pocket, so that's what it is. So last we left off on the 52, we were working on the rocker panels on the back, under the back doors, and we found there was some additional rot inside that we should address. And I was over on the Chevy Talk forum, and one of the users, Ram51, I believe it was, Ram51, left me a comment with a template that they had made for theirs. There we go. So I went ahead and scaled it out on my printer to the appropriate size and cut out a template, or one of the templates here, and this should work for the back of the rockers in front of the rear wheel. So I'm going to take some of my sheet metal here, trace it out, and see if we can't make one fit. Now, like I said, it's cold. There's not a Chevy right here where there should be a Chevy. But that'll happen soon enough because we have a few projects going on right now. There's the Challenger door behind me getting prepped for primer. Our air compressor is down. I'm trying to finish up drawers for daughter's bed for her birthday. And yeah, we're in the garage. So space is limited, time is limited. So we work with what we've got. Like I said, we've got ourselves a template here that I went and cut out to make this here. Luckily that'll fit on my sheet metal. So I'm gonna go ahead, trace this out. We've got marks on here for where it should be bent to fit into that rocker little recess. And knowing that I don't have the car up here and don't know how it should fit or bend, I'm gonna have to just sort of walk down and freeze my tail off and figure out how this all bends up. The only downside is, I think the one that should be there now is completely rusted and gone. So I really have no marks to go off of other than this template that was sent to me. So anyways, we'll go ahead and get this traced. We'll get it cut out, and maybe I'll see if I can wander down to the shop and take a look at what it should look like. I would hope between either the passenger or driver's side, I should have some reasonable vision of what it should look like. So I guess we'll just find out. All right, folks, well, it's been a hot minute, but we've got the Chevy up here in the garage finally. Been a number of weeks since I started this segment here, but weather, life, everything else, and other projects, and the Chevy didn't want to start. So took care of that here today, got it up here. Weather's actually turned for the better. It's going to be in the 50s here, and hopefully that's a trend towards better things. Now, I did go ahead in this nice little span and get our template marked and cut out for our rocker cap. And without seeing one, I don't really know quite how it all folds together. So I've just started with this. I think this actually becomes more of a 90-degree bend or closer to 45. But I've got this cut here, so you'd think those would kind of come together and meet. But again, I don't have a sheet metal brake. I have my 6-inch bench vise, so that's what I've used to bend everything over with some help of a hammer. And it's not perfect, but it's what I've got access to. So let's wander over to the car quick and see what we can figure out. So here's the side that I haven't taken apart yet. And let's look under here. I'm still just sort of at a loss of how this piece is supposed to fit in. I see there's a plug here, plastic plug, which I assume matches up with this hole here I've got traced. So let's go over and look down the driver's side and see what it looks like. Alrighty, over here we have no light. I had to pull it in straight because I have no brakes. So we have to fix that. Now, if I go and look here, again I have the same plug here. So I think, if I'm looking at it correctly, this fits in here like this. Of course, this all gets cut out and removed. But this goes in here, slides kind of back to here actually. So imagine this back another 1.5 inches. And then I bet this will follow the contour of the rocker cap itself here and made up on the back side of the vehicle. You can see, oops, see what it looks like back here, and I'm guessing that's pretty much how it's supposed to go based off of how I'm seeing the other bends in the metal. So I think what I'm going to do is keep working on getting this cleaned out, and yep, I'm going to cut this all out. Once I figure out where everything goes, I'm not going to cut out and replace everything here. I'm going to go and just cut a strip, and probably not, maybe I'll try and plug weld it or pinch weld it, but I think there's going to be a little too much rust for that. We'll see what I can come up with. I haven't looked behind here yet, but if the back side's as good as the front side, yeah, it's kind of rusty crusty. So we may just end up trying to do some plug welding here on the front side, put some rust encapsulator, some rust converter, get to some nicer metal, plug it, and move on with life, because otherwise I'm going to be taking this whole thing off, and that's just not in the cards. But get this area cut out, figure out there's more that goes under here, behind here, up the back that I've been trying to get out from the first video. And then of course we have this area here that needs to be cleaned up, prepped, rust encapsulator shoved in here, and then our new trim piece or our new dog leg fit into place here. So all in all, a lot of work. A little bit of rust here to convert. We'll see. And this is taking a little longer than I had initially wanted, just because life happens. So I may just take a really quick stab, sand off. You see, you've got from sitting in the garage under a cover, a little bit of this surface rust in a few spots where moisture has pooled from being in the shop, which is still not heated or insulated. Look below to find out how you can help with that. But I may just go ahead and clean it up quick, mask off the inside, and shoot just a coat of primer on it, just to protect it from the elements, because while we still have a good deal of body work to do, especially back here with these dents around the tail lights, and you can see this is just not cool. And then this tear here, and of course the same rocker repairs over here. It's not something I'm going to be able to get done in a weekend. No, not something I want to try and do in a weekend. But on the plus side, our front fenders that we've put on and got painted up a few weeks ago, or now months ago, look pretty good. They're still on there. Seem to be holding up to a winter of moisture under a plastic baggie. So that's nice to see. Our goal, ow, piece of trash. Our goal is, once we get the rest of this body work done on the rear end of the car, I'd like to go ahead and fit the doors back on, finish our last bit of body work. If there's any big differences, anything I've got to worry about between the fitment of the doors here, I want to deal with that, make sure the fenders are going to fit well. Then let's strip everything down, take care of the inside, get that painted, primed, and then jam everything out. Put the doors back on, paint it. It sounds so simple. It does. It's a simple concept, but the time involved. I can see why some people charge $60,000, $70,000 for even a basic restoration, not even a full, show car, frame off or anything, because the amount of time in here, especially if you're not just doing a hack job, is enormous. So let me go ahead. I'm going to get the brakes taken care of on this thing so we can actually turn it around, get it back in the right end of the shop, and get the light over there, where we've got all of our tools. And we'll come back and just work on getting that driver's side cleaned up and hopefully start getting it put back together, because I'm kind of tired of taking things apart. And I haven't even taken the engine out yet. I don't know. I'll get there one of these days. I mean, at the end of the day, everything outside is going to look really nice, but this whole area, that's going to be a mess. I mean, engine's got to come out, tran's got to come out, radiator's got to come out, all the wiring, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's just a ton of work left to do. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. I would have hoped we could take it to church here this spring, nice sunny spring morning, tootle down the country road to church. And yeah, we're not taking this to church this year. I've got seatbelts though for the kids, so that's a step in the right direction. They just don't have any place to sit. I guess the one positive thing as I came out today to move the car and the carburetor that the carb shop up in Forest Lake that they redid for us last summer doesn't leak. I'm not peeing gas everywhere, so that's a bonus. The fuel system holds fuel. The fuel gauge works. Voltage gauge works. I've got oil pressure. So I guess there's some positives. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get these little annoyances wrapped up and come back, and we'll try and get something done other than me flapping my gums. Alrighty, I've got a basic template made out here. I started with just this. Ended up, I think what I'm going to do is just take this piece of metal, trace the template out. I've got this little bump out here for that angled piece of the rocker, of the inner rocker. And I'm going to extend it all the way out here and then mirror it for the other side when we get there. And I think we'll be pretty good. Probably going to be a bunch of metal work to get everything bent over properly, but that's what it is. I've got these two areas here, here and here, that I don't really have a way to press it. So I either may just cut them out, as I don't know if I'm going to be able to hammer them with the tools I have. So if I cut these out, which won't be so bad because I'm going to have more good places to weld around, so that will be helpful as well. And then we'll have this whole area strengthened up, and then we can close this in, especially back here, so we don't keep getting more moisture and dirt back there. I mean, whatever I do is going to outlast me. But, if I ever part with the car down the road, I'd like to make sure the next person that it goes to doesn't end up with a big steaming pile of turds for their car. So go ahead and get this transferred over, cut out. Then I'll probably just get the first piece bent and trimmed and not drag you along for that process, because it's probably going to be a while, and maybe a new lesson in vocabulary to be learned. So we'll come back when we get this first piece made up. Then hopefully we'll be able to cut out the last little bit in front of the wheel well and start reassembling everything here on the driver's side. So like I said before, getting really tired of taking things apart. All right, well, we've been working quite a bit of this late in the last night, and I was able to get all the old rocker out from behind the wheel well here, and just test fit everything in place where I think it's gonna go. We've got some more work, of course, to do for this dog leg to get that to fit in here where it needs to go. But my main thing I wanted to check on is these pieces to make sure they are lined up with the door. So I went and grabbed the door out of the shop, and I'm gonna hang that on here and see, just to make sure where this sits is where that flare in the door also sits, to make sure we don't have to move it forward or back any. It would be bad to get everything welded in here and then realize that it's off and there's a gap between these lines. So what I need to do is make a quick hole. I'll probably put a tack here, probably a tack back here, so I can get this clamp out of the way and be able to hang the door roughly and see where we need to be. Other thing I did is put together a crudely fabbed up inner rocker here for that section under here. So this will end up fitting down into here in some fashion and lining up. Got fitting down here to do yet. This is just loosely in its place. It's got to get moved around quite a bit yet. But getting this top cap on here is going to be the key point to get everything else lined up from there, including this dog leg. And I also have to go grab the wheel skirt for this before I get this in, because this is front, forward, or back of where it needs to be. Then the wheel skirt will not line up, and that will also be bad. However, I'm not quite sure where my wheel skirts are right now, so I'll have to go on a scavenger hunt. Alrighty, well, I've gone ahead and just basically tacked in this top plate here to see if we're anywhere near where we should be. I went and grabbed a door out of the shop and fit that on, got that hung. Looks like we need some adjustment, but hey. Used to fit a whole lot better. So what I want to do is close this here. And take a look. It's tough to see where this is going to fit under here. Oh, this is going to be, yeah, tough to get you under there. Let's see. There we go. That's what we're looking for, is to figure out where this gap is, and if I need to move this plate farther up to fit in, or exactly where is the best place for it to go. Now, I know we've got some inconsistencies in stamping because it's 70 years difference, but I think this gap here looks a little too thick, and maybe this sill plate should be moved up just a hair. But to be sure, I'm gonna run down, grab the other door out of the shop and dig through bags of bolts and try and find a few more screws to hold that door on the passenger side and see how that lines up, because we have not yet cut that out. Now what I want to make sure is that in this area here, and you can see this looks a little tighter than the one over there, and I'll show you in just a second. Maybe it's close. It looks like it's a little tighter stamping, but maybe it's just my eyes. But my main goal here is to make sure that the door follows this contour, or that this replacement pieces follow the contour of the door, so we don't have that little hoop-de-doo really offset. So we'll put our trim back on, because remember there's chrome trim that goes down here. I'm gonna try and find that too. And we've got our trim piece here, there's a lot of pieces that go into play here to make sure that everything lines up. So that's my plan. Again, it's tedious work, but I think taking the extra time to make sure it's on there and lined up properly, the end result's gonna look a whole lot nicer, not just slapped together in 5 minutes. So I guess this is just the little piddly stuff of putting a car back together, especially when you're cutting off old parts and then putting new stuff back on. So I'm gonna go dig the other door out and actually check this out quick. Just over a year ago, we redid these doors. And if you remember, all along here was a big crease from previous accident where they got driven through a door or a post or something, but this was all caved in. And ran through, did all the body work on it, pulled these dents out, got videos on the beginning of this series, and it sat in primer and a sealer coat down in the shop all summer, winter, humid, cold, wet, moist, damp, and I don't see any bubbling or imperfections that have popped up in the paintwork. So that tells me that I've probably done something kind of right in prep. Now, of course, once we get everything back on here, get our gaps set, make sure nothing else is horribly moved. I mean, this is larger because I really haven't adjusted this door at all. But once we get everything back on, we're gonna do a final coat of primer and blocking, take everything apart and then shoot it. But we've got a ways to go for that. So for now, go ahead and work on getting the other door attached over there and trying to figure out where this is here, if it needs to move forward or back. There is a hard stop. Let's see. There is a hard stop right here where the other piece was up against, and there's a little flange on the top of this that tucks up. So it's flat against the back here. So in theory, you think this is back where it needs to be, and this is just where it sits, and there's going to be a little bit of difference in these contours between this and the door down here. But I just don't know, and I want to be sure before I go ahead and just throw it back together and run into a problem down the road and realize that I've got to take it all apart again and redo it. So we'll go find our other door and go from there. Alrighty, and just like that, after about 3 hours of cutting and fitting, it looks better. I went and grabbed the wheel skirts because I wanted to make sure those fit in here, and it fits okay. This dog leg here is a little misshapen. I don't know if it's the stamping process or what, but it is a little off. There's a little more of a gap down here, a little more of a gap here than I would like to see in the wheel skirt that fits up here pretty nicely, the rest of it. But again, there is a rubber seal that goes in here, so that'll take up some of that slack. I got this area pretty well fit in where it needs to be. When I actually weld it in here, there's about 3/8 inch of a gap that if I pull everything out, without cutting my hand off, everything seems to tuck together quite nicely. So I did go ahead and trim these up a little more on the front. Everything fits here pretty well. And the important part is, let me get my light out of the way. At least the last time I checked with the door on it, this right here fits darn near perfect. I don't know that this could fit any better down here, which of course leaves to be desired in this gap here. And again, this part here is not perfect. I did quite a bit of fitting, and I'll do a little more fitment yet, but I'm not going to be able to close up this gap here without a pile of filler, and I'm not going to put in that much mud because that's just not right. I'll be able to get a little back with the door gap, but you see the rest of the gap fits darn near perfect. Even up along here, I haven't even done a whole lot of effort into gapping it yet, but I know I'm not going to get this much gap back. And again, if I tried to bend this whole thing this way to cover up this gap, I would have more gap here. So short of completely replacing the part, which I am not about to do, because again, it's just the same stamping, I may just have to live with that because that's how it's going to roll. And again, it's old, not perfect to begin with, but everything else seems to fit in here well. I have, what was it, this piece? Let me see how this piece fits in here. This is our chrome. It tucks under here. Let's see. Well, that doesn't quite fit in like it should. There we go. If we get a little bit of trimming around here, it'll fit in, I believe, where it should. And we'll be good. Because if we go over on the passenger side, we have our trim, but no light. But if you can see here on the back side of the trim piece, there is actually some of the yeah, it's not very good to look at. This should fit on here. At least I've got a few holes in the metal for my screws to look at. You can see where this fits on there. And there is about a, I don't know, 3/4 inch gap back to the wheel well here. So if I go back and look on the driver's side, will be, I think, very similar in that same area. So what I'm gonna do now is take everything apart again, get my backer in wherever it went for the inner rocker, and then start piecing everything back. And I've got a bunch of holes to drill for plug welds in here and to start fitting everything together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some of that stuff prepped, and then I'll come back when we are starting to put everything together for the last time. At least I hope. I mean, I don't want to take it apart again, but yeah, no, I don't want to take it apart again. So pretty much, yeah, I spent the last 2 to 3 hours trying to get these pieces fit over here. It's tedious because, again, pretty much everything was routed away and I didn't have anything good to start with. I couldn't even take in pictures before I took things apart because the parts were just gone. Alrighty, we're gonna wrap this one up right here. I just took a look at the clock and we're closing in on 30 minutes. And I don't want to lose everybody here, put everybody to sleep. So this wasn't terribly action-packed, but it kind of goes to show kind of the framework you've got to lay down in order to get things ready to put back together, especially when you're working on a 70-year-old car that the parts you're taking out don't exist anymore because they've all rusted away. A lot of this is trying to been kind of assume and hope things go back where they are supposed to go. And I think, at least on the driver's side, it's looking pretty good. So we'll come back, slam this side together, get it tacked together, fit it again, make sure everything looks good. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead, weld everything up finally, internal frame coat, all that good stuff, and then move over to the passenger side where hopefully I'll be able to show you a little more of the step-by-step process since I've already got this part figured out over here on the driver's side. So until the next video, have fun, enjoy life, and I guess some catchy catchphrase here. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.